guys, it's SJ. Happy Baby Day Monday. How are you all? Today's list is a stunning list of adding a sprinkle of period drama to your name list. So if you're naming a baby, then you're going to hear some gorgeous, rare, kind of vintage names that haven't yet come back up and I think have a kind of a ceiling when it comes to becoming the next big thing. I don't think they're going to be a Charlotte or an Amelia. I think they're going to be maybe like a Margot and a Mabel. Quirky choices that are still a little bit outside of the box, and you're not going to find yourself with, you know, being one of hundreds in the classroom. Actually, the popularity bubble, we need to pop it a little bit, because in the past there was something like 100 names that everyone was called. So imagine the population, people were less worried about having matching names. Nowadays there's been such a baby name boom, as well as a baby boom. That's what we were doing in lockdown, making babies, which is good for my business. There's also been a big baby name boom that we are going back further and further and further in history. So I'm taking you right back to the 1800s, right back to Bridgerton era, because I've just finished Bridgerton, and I also have a little Bridgerton spoiler for you. The baby name, the season 2 baby names. That'll be right at the end, so don't worry. If you want to skip it, you can. And I don't know if they're going to go with these names, but yeah, I have got some spoilers there for you. So I'm going to take you through a whole load of period drama names. There's some boy ones, there's some girl ones. They're all absolutely stunning. They're all going to be right up your street, I am sure. If you haven't already, do hit subscribe. And yeah, let's get on with the list. So I asked on my community tab the names you were scared were about to get really popular before you'd get a chance to use them, and that's why I realised this period drama trend is so huge, because most of the names were from this period in time. So names have started to come up. So like Winnie, we're obsessed with, that's at 234. Pearl is at number 218. I've got a really good game for you at the end where you're going to be able to generate your own vintage name, what your name actually would have been in the 1800s. So stay tuned for that, it's really fun. I just did mine. Iris is at number 81. Cora, you guys love, is at number 158. So just giving you a flavour of those types of names, because those are the ones that came up again and again when people were saying, I'm so scared this name's going to get really popular and be the next big thing. So the first one I've gone to is Anne of Green Gables. We have talked about this before. Anne of Green Gables was a very, very long series, followed Anne from a child right the way through to a mother herself, and we all really loved her eventual husband's name, friend at the beginning of the series. Not to give it away, but it's been around for a while. Gilbert Blythe. So Gilbert Blythe, it was a classic period drama name, isn't it? It's just like the perfect hero name, and he was known for being very handsome, very, very charismatic. As soon as you read that, you're like, yes. But Gilbert itself has not become super popular. There are only 21 boys called Gilbert last year. So if you're looking for a sort of rare vintage boy name, it is a really good one, and you could go with that Bertie nickname for Albert. There's a lot of people really, really like, but then you've got the kind of quirkiness that he's a Gilbert. And similarly for Blythe. Blythe is one of our most popularly rising names, as we know, mainly for girls, but it's still quite low down. It means happiness. It's absolutely lovely. But Blythe for boys, I think, is a bit of a hidden gem as well. I think it would be one that's getting more popular. It's kind of soft with the THE ending. What do you think of it? But it is right down the bottom of the ranks. When it comes to something like Downton Abbey, that was the huge one, wasn't it? Did you watch it? I think the name for me that always stood out is SYBIL, and SYBIL has yet to get back up. So I would hand on heart have it on my list. Sylvie has become so popular, and SYBIL, I just can't understand why it's not yet, because it's got the B like Belle that we absolutely love, like an Isabel, but she's SYBIL. I think it is absolutely stunning. It is rising, but it's still only at number 1389. Cora has already come right up, but no one has pinched SYBIL yet. So yeah, look for the sister, look for the not most obvious character. Far from the Madding Crowd. Did anyone watch that or hear of that? That is Thomas Hardy novel, very much set out in the ruralness. I think Far from the Madding Crowd is about being away from society and out in the sticks a little bit more. But the names are just really gorgeous. So it was Gabriel Oakes was one of the main guys, and Gabriel is still really popular, and it's actually up at the moment as well. Does Gabriel feel vintage to you? I don't know how vintage it is to me, but it's very period drama, isn't it, Gabriel? Gabe, he sounds rugged and outdoorsy like he is. He's a shepherd, I think. So it's gone right up, and it's actually number 66 now, which is a really good place to be if you want traditional. because it's almost in the top 50, Gabriel. So everyone pretty much knows it, they can spell it, they can say it. Obviously it's an angel name as well, but it's got that period drama thing going for it, I think. And then I love the surname Oak. Oak, just by itself as a name, is actually, there are 11 babies called just Oak. But Oakley is the main one that we go for with the L-E-Y. But I actually really like just Oak, and I felt that Gabriel Oak, it's just the perfect name. Whoever wrote it, Thomas Hardy, who's he? But the female name, I'm not too sure if it's Bathsheba. I'm not going to be able to say it. Bathsheba. I think that's how you say it. Oh my god, I could not get that out. Bathsheba EVERDEEN. But I love EVERDEEN. I think that is absolutely stunning. And that was the sort of second name. I'm just going to have a quick look actually if EVERDEEN's been used. No, it's not. So that's really, really gorgeous. Now, so when it comes to Poldark, how crazy were you on Poldark? My best friend was obsessed with Poldark, and I'm ashamed to say I've still never watched it. You know, just because she was so obsessed with it and she kept telling me how much I was going to love it, that I didn't watch it. Because I'm one of those people who I like to discover it myself 6 months or 6 years after everyone else has watched it. But she was obsessed with it, so I've heard a lot about Poldark. She thought he was so handsome. She's even got a fridge magnet of him, because I don't know why I remember that, just it cracks me up. But the names are really interesting because the feminine name, the lead protagonist female, which is Poldark's wife, is called DEMELZA. And that is so unique, isn't it? And it actually has shot up. So it is rising in the charts, even though it is such a unique name. It is gone up, and it is a Cornish name. So Poldark is all set in Cornwall, and it means fort on the hill. And it was used a lot in the 1950s, DEMELZA, but has kind of gone out of style. And I wonder if, it sounds strange to us now, but in a couple of years we'll be like, oh, everyone's called DEMELZA now. Like Demi is really nice, like Demi Lovato. Elsa is nice, a bit like Elsa and Elsie. We like all of those names. So it could be an outside choice now that really comes up. What I was really interested in looking up was the name MORWENNA, because a lot of people recently have been telling me that they have a daughter called MORWENNA. So I've actually been sent it about 5 or 6 times just really, really recently. So I wonder if it's again one of those that's just creeping on to people's name lists. I always get in trouble when I say things like that. So MORWENNA was a character in Poldark, and it means, it's a Welsh name that means waves of the sea. So it's a really interesting one, isn't it? What do you think of it? And I feel like if people like Winnie, maybe they're looking for a long form and landing on MORWENNA and going for it. But yeah, it's really, really coming up at the moment. So we will see if it continues to rise. So jumping on to Bridgerton. Bridgerton is the most recent huge hit on Netflix. It follows the story of a duke named Simon who ends up courting a lady called Daphne. So it's set in the 1800s in London, when there used to be this season, that marriage season, where everyone would go out. And I was going to say a very social media thing. I was today's years old. What's that? I was today years old, that sort of thing. Don't try and be cool. Anyway, when I found out that the narrator is Julie Andrews, and I'm obsessed with Julie Andrews. I've made a whole Sound of Music video here, and I can't believe I watched an entire series not realising that it was Julie Andrews. The legend who is Julie Andrews is Lady Whistledown, who basically narrates the show, a bit like a Gossip Girl type of vibe. It's really good. Everyone was obsessed with it. And the name Daphne is the lady main protagonist, and I think that is going to boom up the charts. It means laurel tree or bay tree. It's already at number 382, and I will be stunned if when the next name lists come out, not long now actually guys, it will have gone up, I'm sure. And I wonder if he's even going to do things for Simon. So Simon is actually on a downward trend, and but it's still at 404, so not right down there, Simon, but does make you like it a little bit. He does make you like it. He sells that name, doesn't he? But actually there was 13 babies called Duke, and in the TV series he's mainly called the Duke. That's how they talk about him. So it will be interesting to see. But what was great about their names, and why a lot of you messaged me about their names, is that they called all their children, Daphne's family are letters A through. They every child has a name of the alphabet. So they have Anthony, then they have Benedict, then they have Colin, then they have Daphne, and then the family goes through like that. So it's a really beautiful way of naming children. And then what happens at the end of series 1 is they announce that they are, oh, this is a spoiler, at the end of series 1, they have to start the names again, basically. There is a baby about to be born. So Colin, actually, funnily enough, has had a little bump up the charts already. So it was at 952, but going up already, Colin. So are we going to see these boy names, these traditional boy names like Gilbert, Colin, Benedict that I'm talking about on this list, are we going to start seeing them coming back up the charts again? They're quite cool. Wouldn't that be quite cool if they did? Because at the moment our boys don't change all that often. Benedict and Eloise are two really popular characters in Bridgerton, and their names are actually going down at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see Eloise, because I feel like that is, again, a name that is on a lot of lists at the moment. Eloise and Benedict, but they are going down at the moment. And my favourite name, I think, is actually Hyacinth. So Hyacinth is the youngest, and it's such a beautiful name. And at the moment it's really low down. And I predict also that that one will be going up. Hyacinth. It's just such a beautiful floral name that's not being used, yeah, and it's totally unranked at the moment. So there are some other names in the 1800s that were just really, really nice. All the names that we kind of like seem to be from that era as well. So just got the list in front of me. So funny enough, number 6 in the charts for girls was the name Minnie. What do you think of Minnie? Would you use it for a little girl? It was number 6 in the 1800s in the UK. There was also Ida at number 7. So I actually have the full, actually this is in America, I've got the full list here. I will pop it in the description box below. Myrtle was at number 37. I mentioned the name Myrtle recently, you guys were a bit split on it. And then names like Lula at 43, like totally crazy, really unusual names. But things like Effie that we're loving at the moment, Della that we're loving at the moment, Nancy, Viola, Hazel, they all came from the 1800s. And then there's some great ones for boys as well. Names like Marion was a boy name back in the 1800s. Jessie was at 86 and is one of our really popularly rising names right now. Floyd was ranked 71 in the 1800s, so again a really lovely name. And Otto was at 67, and I've always felt that Otto was a really, really new popular name. Eugene at 54, so there's some really great names to be found from looking right back to the 1800s. So I wanted to play a little game with you guys. I found a link where you can type in your name and you can find out what your name would have been as far back as the 1800s. So basically, because my name, I've put in Sarah, my name is Sarah Jane, but that doesn't rank, so I just did the Sarah. And then I will look at, so say Sarah was number 4, then it would be whatever name was number 4 in the charts for each decade would be the name that you would be. So for example, if I was born now, my name would be Sophia. That's kind of what my name would be. I feel like I prefer Sophia to Sarah actually. But my name, if I was born in the 1880s, would have been Elizabeth. And I love the name Elizabeth. I really do like it. My name in the 1920s would have been Betty. I thought that was quite cool. In the 1930s, I'd have been a Shirley. In the 1960s, I'd have been a Karen. Oh my goodness. So it's a really fun thing. So I want you to have a look and then pop in the comment section below what your name would have been in all the decades. Let me know all of them because I love them, but particularly in the 1880s because that's as far back as the poll goes. So it's been a bit on my mind what Simon and Daphne are going to call their baby whose name begins with an A. Bridgerton was actually a book series and we're going to go through each series, we hope, we expect. It was such a huge hit, hearing the story of each different sibling in each series. That's how the books were written. So series 2 isn't going to be so focused on the Duke and Daphne, which is a little bit sad. It's going to flip into her brother and his season out on the sort of wedding scene and who he falls in love with. And we're going to be following a new heroine who is a girl called Kate. So that's going to be really interesting to see if that really puts Kate on the map. Actually, funny if my parents' dog is called Kate. So that would be quite funny. But Kate obviously is a very classic name, a very royal name here. So I'm sure that Kate Middleton is quite excited that she's going to be sharing a name with somebody from Bridgerton. I'm sure she watches it. And then the name of the children. So their names are always alphabetical. We are going to have the name announced, the Duke and Daphne's name. However, I tried to find a clue in the book and they've switched it up because in the TV series they have a boy, whereas in the books they first off have a girl and call her Amelia. So they've actually had a boy in the TV series, so do also pop your suggestions and your ideas for what we think they're going to call their baby in the comment section. If any of you are right, I will be coming back to this video and we will find out if we were right and if we managed to predict it. So that's the end of our kind of period drama. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to do it a little bit differently, so you're going to get a bunch of names and ideas and stories and different ways of looking at the period drama puzzle pie, name pie. I've absolutely loved chatting baby names with you as always. If you've enjoyed it, do hit subscribe to follow Baby Name Mondays, where you will find me here every single Monday with a new name list for ideas and inspiration. You can also listen to the podcast, which is the #1 podcast in parenting on Apple Podcasts in the UK. It was this week. I don't know if it still is actually. Episode 3 is now live, and anyone who rates and reviews episode 3 specifically will now be entered into that competition to win a personal baby name chat consultancy with me on Zoom. So if you're naming a baby, then do just pop to the podcast, I'll link below, leave a rating and review. And the last week's winner was Charlotte, which is really exciting, so I can't wait to do her baby name gossip and chat. Have a lovely week, guys. I will see you same time next week. Bye.